So I've been trying to figure this out now for probably like 2 weeks. I went on holiday recently and I had a bit of a realization, and like, don't get me wrong, just gone the wrong way, never mind. Yeah, don't get me wrong, this is not like a new realization, but I think, you know, like the more you think about something, the more you think, ooh, maybe that's done a little bit more damage than I thought it had. So it's no secret that I have some avoidant tendencies. I feel like I've spoken about it pretty openly here before, and I think I've gone through a little bit of a journey in terms of my attachment style. So for reference, when I was a child, I would say I was quite what's the word, like disorganized attachment style. Like, I really cared about the validation of others, but I was also still quite avoidant. So I think I kind of flipped between anxious and avoidant as a child. And then when I went through therapy, I kind of felt like I got to a place where I was quite secure in my attachment style. I would also just like to preface that it's really hard to make this episode without talking about my exes. So, little disclaimer, I'm not mad at you, I don't hate you, all of you, you know, it's fine. If you listen to this and it offends you, or you feel bad, don't. It's not that deep. Like, it's fine. I'm dealing with it. But I do kind of have to speak about those past experiences. So, you know, I don't know. Disclaimer, don't cry about it if you feel like I'm like targeting you in this episode. I am, for sure. But it's not deep and it's not like emotionally charged. But sorry, I'm at a weird junction right now. Yeah, so I went through therapy and quite a few terrible relationships, and when I came out of therapy, I would say, in quite a secure place in terms of my attachment style. And I met someone that was like treated me really well, and was, I would always say, made me like gain faith in men again. Like, he was treated me so well, and it was a very calm relationship. We weren't like constantly at each other's throats like I'd been with some of my other boyfriends, and you know, there wasn't that whole like back and forth and the push and pull and the like, you know, I knew where I stood. Well, for most of it, I knew where I stood for most of it, and there was quite a significant emotional infidelity in that relationship, which I kind of knew about. I was kind of, you know, told no, like, you know, it's tale as old as time, really. Like, no, nothing's going on there, but there definitely was. And then very shortly after we broke up, they got together, and I think at the time I was more just like angry. I've actually spoken about this before. Find my angriest podcast, and that'll be that one. But yeah, no, I was like super angry about it, or like understandably, because I kind of felt like my whole relationship had been a lie, and I guess like part of it had, or like I'd been lied to. I don't really know if he was like lying to himself. I don't really know what the situation was, but as a result of that, I kind of just went completely off men. Like, I haven't really seriously dated anyone in like 2.5 years, just because I have such severe trust issues now. And this isn't like a woe is me thing, like, please don't pity me. Like, I've done my fair share of like terrible things in my past. This isn't like a sob story. It's more just an explanation of how I got to where I am. Hence why I say it's not emotionally charged. I mean, it definitely was at one point, but not now. And yeah, so I was just like, no, I can't do it. And I think the reason being because I'd maybe poured too much of my faith into this one person, you know, like I'd decided that this one person was the person that had made me like truly believe that like men can be good romantic partners and not terrible ones. And you know what they always say, like, don't put all your eggs in one basket. I'm not like, I mean, when you're in a relationship with someone and you're like exclusive, it's kind of hard to not put your eggs in one basket, but I get like, I don't know, this is the hard thing. It's like, don't put your eggs in one basket, but also like, I don't want to live the rest of my life being like, but what if there's a better, do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of hard, but I guess it's like not coining people as the reason that you believe something about humanity. Does that make sense? Like, not believing that one experience with someone is the reason why people are the way they are, you know, because everyone behaves so differently. And I think that was like one of the hardest things for me to come to terms with, and I think I'm still trying to come to terms with that, is the fact that like my issue, and I think in the reason I'm so avoidant, is because, okay, this is where it gets like a little bit triggering. So if you have like sexual issues, like sexual assault history, this is just a warning. I'm going to kind of be talking about that experience a little bit. So I have trauma surrounding that, as most women do, and I think the reason that that's been easier for me to heal from, even though it was quite literally the worst thing that I had to go through, was because the circumstances that I experienced that under were very specific, and it was something that will not be replicated again in my life, just down to the dynamic of me and that person. There was like a big age issue, that I like won't be that age again, and you know, there were certain factors in that situation that are not possible again, like they won't happen again. And that's not to say I won't be assaulted again, but it's to say that a lot of the triggers that are apparent within that trauma for me are super specific, to the point where I don't really have to worry about them coming up in my day-to-day life. So using that logic, and do you know, I've tried to make this podcast like 100 times, and every time I do these fucking disclaimers and I just think like, ugh. But I do want to say, I'm not trying to draw parallels between my exes and sexual assault. I've never been assaulted by an ex. None of my exes have ever, nothing like that. It is nothing to do with any of my exes at all. However, what I will say is, whereas with my sexual assaults, I, you know, have this, I guess, like, wall, if you'd call it a wall, of security, knowing that it's not a replicable situation. Does that make sense? Replicable? I don't know. Replicable? I don't know. In terms of my ex-boyfriend, that is so easily replicable. That word doesn't sound right, but anyway, he could be anyone, you know, like anyone could present to me as a nice guy. Like that is not a hard thing to replicate, unless you're just like a prick, which is fine. I think I would prefer that. But this is why I think I've struggled with it so intensely, because like my biggest trauma in life is obviously my sexual assault, and that is something that I would say worked through quite considerably and been able to heal from. And I think a large part of that is in knowing that I'm safe from that happening again, circumstantially, right? And I think this is maybe why I'm having such like a visceral reaction to men these days, because, and I'm not trying to say that like what my ex did was like equal to that trauma, but it really fucked me up. Like it really, really fucked me up, because, and I know this is like a normal thing for people to think like when you've been cheated on, but it really does make you reevaluate every conversation you ever had, every, you know, everything. Even things where you weren't in any kind of conversation, you think like, you know, you just second guess everything, you think about everything, and it's just such an uncomfortable feeling, and it leaves you with so much doubt. And I'm really, to be honest, someone that's quite self-assured, and like I know who I am and I know whatever, and like I really don't second guess things. But when it comes to men, especially ones that are like viewing me in a romantic lens, not only does it like make my stomach turn, it also, it's like, I don't trust you, because I was with someone that was like the most trustworthy person ever until they weren't. And I know this isn't a new phenomenon, and you hear stories about this all the time, and I'm definitely one of the luckier ones. Like, I didn't have a house and children, and I hadn't married this man. There was a lot less to lose, but it still fills you with those same feelings of doubt, and it's just not nice. And it's funny because like this happened like 2 years ago, and I kind of feel like, not like it's getting worse, but I think I've reached a point where now I'm like, almost like something's got to give. Like, I don't want to live my life in fear of a man telling me he's interested in me, or like, I don't know, like pursuing something with someone purely just based on the fact that I'm convinced that inevitably they will deceive me. And I feel like in my life I've had quite a few like mass deceptions. Like my old best friend tried to sleep with my boyfriend. Oh, another boyfriend, by the way, not the same one. And then was like baffled as to why I had to cut her off because of it. And like, there's just been quite a few occasions in my life where I've been like severely betrayed. So I think I have this like negative core belief that I'm like destined to be betrayed. And I spoke to my therapist about this a few years ago, and she was like, no, you're just like figuring out who's a shit person or not. I was like, oh. She was like, you're really young, like you've got to remember, like you're so young and you've only really just started to implement boundaries, that of course you're still around some people that are like a little bit shit. And she was like, as you get older, it's going to almost like hurt more, because you think that you've got these like really solid boundaries and that people have like accepted these boundaries and that you've like got good people around you. So then when they betray you, it's even worse, because you're then like, well, like I thought I knew and I thought I whatever. And I have this situation recently actually where I thought I'd made friends with someone, and low-key they turned out to be like a little bit of a stalker. And I remember being really upset with myself that I couldn't like see the signs. Like I literally got Joe Goldberg'd a little bit, and I was like, why did I not see the signs? And then I was being really hard on myself, and all my friends were like, Evie, like this has taken you like 2 weeks. Like before this would have taken you like years to see these signs. So I guess like when you zoom out and look at the big picture, it is like I am improving that ability to like, I don't know, tell when someone's a massive prick. But I think it's one of those things like you kind of expect when you go through something sad or like traumatizing or whatever it is. I think you expect that the next time you will be like completely conscious of it and completely aware, and I really feel like it just doesn't work that way. I was having a conversation with one of my friends, Daisy, like 2 days ago, and we were talking about how healing is not linear and it's like a spiral, and like this is a really common theory online, and it's like every time, imagine like a tree trunk, how it grows like outwards, and if you put a dent in that tree trunk, for the first few times that tree trunk grows the rings around it, it's still going to be a dent. Like it's going to not look as significant, but it's still going to be there. And I think it kind of represents that idea of like, you're still going through those things, but it's just hurts less and less over time, or you get better at spotting it over time until it gets to a point where, you know, you can't even see the injury anymore because you've had so much like life experience around it. And I do honestly think, sorry I'm talking at 100 miles an hour, but I do honestly think that is one of the main things that has helped me, I guess, like work through my issues, is like just going out and doing things and like experiencing as many different like types of people and life experiences as I can. But then again, like in relation to this issue that I have, I don't really want to experience as many different types of men as I can. I don't know, that makes me feel really uncomfortable. Like, I don't want to go on like I was having this idea like maybe it would be better if I did start dating someone, like, or like a few people, if I like started seeing people and like, you know, putting myself out there, and like, even though it's really like makes me feel really uncomfortable, and you know, like actually seeing someone with like the intent to like actually meet someone, not just to like, I don't know, never speak to them ever again. But then I think like I really do not have the spare time for that. Like I have so much going on that like I really don't, and I can't tell if I don't want a boyfriend because I literally don't have the time or because I'm traumatized. Like I really can't tell, and I think a lot of girls honestly feel the same, because I see a lot of girls online saying like their cups are so full and they don't have the time to like be with someone, and like, you know, when they're with someone their friendships falter and their work life falters and they stop going to the gym as much, and they, you know, like don't look after themselves as much. And I just think like, yeah, that is so real, and I don't want that for myself. Like, what about that is an enjoyable experience? I guess like if you like someone, maybe that's like fun, I don't know, like I don't know. And I think part of this is like my like trauma brain talking, where it's like you'll never have fun with a man again, because like it's, I don't even know how to explain it to you, but it's like I can be having like a laugh and joke with a man, and then all of a sudden I'm like, you're a fucking liar, I hate you, and then I just like can't speak to them anymore. And I don't want to be like that. And I also, I'm quite like a bubbly person and a happy person, and I feel that my main source of anger comes from my feelings towards men. And men have a lot to be sorry for. They really do. They've really done a number on us as women and the earth as a whole. So I don't believe, like, I think the system of manhood is a crock of bullshit, and I don't really believe in that. But I know that not every individual man has had a part in setting that system up. Like, I have some very, very close male friends that are very important to me, and we've had to talk at length about my attitude towards men, because it's not comfortable for them. And like, while I do have some probably like quite far-strung beliefs in terms of men, I do really value those friends, and like I don't want to be, like, because if they were talking that way about women, I'd be so uncomfortable. And I understand it's different, because like when women shit talk men, what are the consequences that their feelings get hurt? Like when men shit talk women, like we don't know if you're going to kill us. Do you know what I mean? Like there is a difference, and I'm very vocal about that. Like that is one of the things that I do kind of think when men are like, oh, if this was a man doing this, it'd be so, you'd think it was so bad. I was like, yeah, because there's like the intent behind it is never as violent as it is with men. But I do still recognise the double standard, even though I understand it is a very nuanced situation. But I don't want to be angry all the time. I don't want to be like, I almost feel like a porcupine that is constantly prickly. Like, I want to be the soft one. Well, I don't think they're ever really that soft, but you know when they stop their defense mechanism and they just stop being prickly? Like, I want to stop being a prickly porcupine. Oh, that sounds really millennial, but I think you understand my metaphor. Like, I don't want to be, because me having that anger and that like loud, outspoken, like, I'm trying to appear unattractive to these men because it's less likely to get me like killed or Joe Goldberged or like whatever it is. Like, the louder you are and the more uncomfortable you make a man, the less likely he is to traffic you or kidnap you or kill you or put you on a pedestal. One of the worst things they can do is put you on a pedestal. That is absolutely god awful. I hate when they do that. Ugh, it's terrible. But I don't want to live like that. Like, I don't want, like, and it kind of is annoying because you don't really have a say on if a man chooses to like you. And that's the worst part about it, is like, you can be as gross as you want, you can be as unfriendly as you want, you can be as, you know, you can be whatever you want, and they'll still choose to like you and decide that you're like the one for them. And I just don't understand it. Like, I don't know, it's really annoying actually, but I feel like I'm in a place where instead of just being like, oh thank you, it's not reciprocated, but thank you, and like move on with my life, I'm like, you're out to get me, you want to kill me, you're going to take something from me, you're going to take my happiness, you're going to take my security, you might cut off all my hair, I don't know, like, you're going to do something to me and I can feel it. And like, is that a bit irrational? Yeah, perhaps. Like, what do you do about it? I am going back into therapy in 2 weeks, so hopefully Amanda can like give me a whack around the head and sort me out, because I see, like, I'm with you guys when you're thinking, oh, you know, maybe you should like get that looked at. No, I know that. I'm 100% aware that my approach to things is not normal. And I actually had a situation recently where one of my friends asked me out on a date, and my reaction was not okay. Like, I mean, I didn't like blow up at him or anything, but like the way that I felt about it, I felt like ripping my skin off of my body and like putting my bones in a jar of bleach. Like, and then it was at that point I thought, ooh, there might be some serious intimacy issues going on here. And actually this kind of follows me into my next point. I don't know what I'm talking about in a minute, but one of the realizations that I have come to that I think is maybe like a hint as to why I feel this way, and maybe could help some other women that also have these feelings, is I think for me there is a correlation between, like, my brain has conflated intimacy issues with sexual issues in the like way that I think my brain is treating emotional intimacy and sexual intimacy as the same trauma. Does that make sense? Like, this is low-key so TMI, like, I apologize, but I feel like the way that my body is reacting to both is the same, which is not okay, and that's not good, and that's not right, and there is no, like, that should not be, that's not like a healthy response, you know? And I think part of this is like what I've been really trying to figure out as to why this is happening. And I think part of this is because to be honest with you, I'll be so real with you, I don't know that I've ever truly connected with a boyfriend that I've had. Like, to where I'm like, I really love you. Like, and they're all going to listen. If they listen to this, they probably won't. But like, if any of them do listen to this, they're going to be like, you're such a liar. You're like, yeah, low-key I am. But like, I think about the way that I love my friends and family, and I don't think I've ever loved a man like that in a romantic way. Like, I really, really don't. Low-key, most of the time I just find them kind of jarring, and I think that's not right, and everyone I've spoken to about that is like, yeah, that's not right. So I think it's almost like the emotional intimacy for me, it's like, if I already have that with one of my friends and they ask me on a date, I'm like, but like, I already love you, I don't need to love you in any different way. And then I'm like, why do you just want to take everything from me? And like what more could you want from me? Like, I already love you. Like, stop being selfish and greedy. And then I see like, you're like, guys, like, Evie, like, chill, like, this is actually not that deep, like, what are you on about? And I'm like, I know, this is very confusing for me. But I think, to summarize, what I've taken away from this is, I feel like I want to get to a place where I'm not scared to be in a man's presence. Wise words from me there. But I genuinely think that is the main takeaway. And it's not even like physically scared. It's more like, I want to be able to be vulnerable or like open and honest with someone without just like automatically assuming that either they're an idiot, because this is like also, sorry to like detour a little bit, but this is also what I adhere to, is like in my head, either, and this is so reductionist of me, either men are smart and manipulative or idiots and kind, and there's no in between. Like, and I know that's probably like a really like pink pill take, and you know, I get it, whatever, but then again, like, I thought my ex fell into the latter, but I think maybe he was the former the whole time. He played a good game. Like, I don't know. It's so very confusing. I think what I'm trying to do is, because I'm a little bit traumatized, I'm trying to like put things into a box, because then it makes it easier for my brain to like handle or deal with, and that's quite like an immature take from me, and not something that I'm proud of. And like, you might listen to this and be like, wow, you're a really horrible and terrible person, and you know what, if you think that, I understand. But I'm trying to be honest and self-aware, because I feel like people have a habit of like making podcasts and like they kind of talk about something that makes them sound a bit not that good, and then they stop. Like, it's like they'll go, it's like they're the kind of people that will go to a job interview and be like, I'm such a perfectionist. Like, how day off, do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like sometimes it's better to just talk about how your issues have made you a bit of a horrible person, because then you can deal with it. And like, I'm going to put this on the internet for like a bunch of random strangers and people that probably hate me, and like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's a bunch of people that probably listen to this that think, oh girl, you know? And like, this is like great ammo for people that don't like me. But I think that's fine, because I think maybe it's a nuanced situation. Like, there's nuance to it, but I do feel like generally a lot of girls do feel this way. Like, a lot of girls do have these feelings about like this weird switch in the brain between like being scared of men, but also like not wanting to hate them, but also like being confused. Like, it's very odd and it's confusing, and I just don't want to turn into like a miserable old spinster, you know? I don't mind being a spinster, like, that's absolutely fine with me. I just don't want to be a miserable one. Like, I want to be like a happy one that like isn't, you know, evil vibes. So that's me, that's where I'm at. Maybe I'll make like a follow-up after I've been to therapy, and once Amanda's given me her wise wisdom and, you know, like cracked my brain open and washed it out with some Dettol. Because for right now, I feel like every time I record an episode I come away more confused. But there we have it. Thank you for listening. I apologise.